welcome to the Random Episode. This is the podcast where we watch a random episode of a TV show from a random series that neither of us have watched before. I'm Varun.
And I'm Christy.
And as always, thank you, Large Jesus, for that amazing intro song. All right, so this week we are talking about the show You, Season 3, Episode 7. We're all mad here. This one aired October 15th, 2021 on Netflix. And the episode summary from IMDb says, while Dottie spirals into emotional turmoil, Love tries to get intel on Matthew's investigation. Joe sets his sights on derailing Marianne's ex. A lot happened. I feel like that did not do it justice. So we will have to do this episode justice. But before we do that, Christy, what did you know about this show before watching it?
So I actually think I knew a fair amount about this show. As I've been saying with a lot of shows lately, Netflix really wants me to watch this. So it's one of those that pops up in my recommendations a lot. And honestly, I've been tempted because it's Penn Badgley of Gossip Girl fame. And so obviously I was a huge Gossip Girl fan, and I feel like Gossip Girl stuff is still popping up in my feeds these days. There's a lot of people from Gossip Girl are back in the news these days. So I don't know, I've been tempted because of Penn Badgley, but as I've discussed a la Yellow Jackets, I'm not into thriller, creepy vibe shows. So that's why I haven't wanted to ever watch it. But here we are.
Just like Yellow Jackets, this one you chose for us to watch too. So I'm surprised.
This is
Given
I
the
don't
genre.
know. I don't know what internally inside of me is what you really should try right now, a thriller. But honestly, and we'll get into it, but this is nowhere near as terrible as Yellow Jackets was for my nightmares. So it's okay. I think I'll be okay after this one.
I think it's the inner goosebumps in you trying to get out. I think that's what
so
this is.
True. It's really, or maybe you are subconsciously impacting, bring more goosebumps into your life. You need to be more like Varun.
Give into it.
I know. Anyway, but what about you? What'd you know?
I knew nothing about this show.
Oh, really? Had you seen advertisements?
I've seen advertisements. Okay. I don't think that Netflix is pushing this as much on me as it is pushing it on you.
They know you're not a Gossip Girl fan like me.
So on that,
okay,
Penn Badgley.
Yeah.
Has he done anything else besides Gossip Girl?
Probably. I didn't even do a deep dive on him because I was just yeah, Gossip Girl and this. That's all. I'm sure he has, but not that I cared about.
I did go down his IMDb page.
Okay.
I didn't see, there's some things I noticed, but nothing that I really recognized him from. But I did find it interesting that his very first acting credit was 1999. He was a voice on the N64 game Mario Golf.
Oh my gosh.
As a kid or something.
I didn't even know that was a place you could get your start as a child actor.
I didn't know either, but that was very awesome, I think. I think it's awesome.
Good for you, Penn Badgley. Okay. But yeah, so you just didn't have a lot of context?
No,
or did you know it was going to be creepy thriller?
No, I guessed from the picture that was
Did you know who Penn Badgley was?
No.
Oh my God.
So really, I don't have much to say on this.
Wow, okay.
I am going into this, I went into this blind. I had no idea what to expect. No idea what kind of genre this was.
Wow.
Anything.
Okay.
So
interesting. We have different algorithms, clearly. So
clearly.
You haven't been seeing the content I've been seeing. All right. Well, then I guess we'll just have, a lot to discuss and see what happens in this episode.
Quick question on algorithms here.
Okay.
So my Netflix account is connected to my in-laws account. And we have, as a family, just only one singular account. I don't even think I can add accounts to our one account.
Because you don't even pay for your own Netflix.
You don't even pay for your own Netflix.
You're 30-something years old.
One account. So our algorithm is taking into account
oh my God.
our shows, our kids' shows.
Oh, it's crazy.
Randomly, when my parents come over to watch shows, their shows that they watch too, it's all compiled into one. So do you have... Your Netflix, do you have separate accounts?
So I'm an adult, so I pay for my own Netflix.
Okay. Unnecessary.
No, I'm lying. I think T-Mobile pays for my Netflix or something like that. But anyway, so we do. My husband has his profile, I have my profile, and my kids have a profile. So mine is untainted. Mine is clearly just Christy watches this. So it's all like the reality content I love. It's Gilmore Girls. It's gossip. Like this is my vibe.
Oh, fascinating.
And that way it knows what I want. So it feeds me. It feeds me all the content that it knows I will want to watch. It's great. I can't believe you're not living this life.
No, we
wild.
keep Netflix on its toes. It does not know what to feed us.
I guess that's probably for the best in terms of like not being hacked or like losing your identity.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Exactly. For those exact reasons.
That's fair. All right. Well, that's why I'm seeing ads for you and you're not.
I'm not.
Okay.
All right, cool. So let's dive into this one. So, oh boy, where to start? Let's start with our main character, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we need to kind of talk about like what we think the premise of this show is. Like the main character is Joe.
Joe, please, you take this one away. I do not know.
This is my hunch from like what I kind of knew about this show, and then from this episode.
Okay,
is he is like a psycho stalker, like obsessed with women type. And so what I gather is he, in like maybe different seasons or like different parts of the show length, like he has a different target who he's like obsessed with. And so like in this episode, he's obsessed with this woman, Marianne, and he kind of like creeper, like psycho stalks her and like thinks about her 24/7. And he's also married. So like, I don't know, like I think his current wife maybe was once one of his like stalker obsessions.
Okay.
And I think he just goes through phases of like being stalker obsessed with different women.
So this was season 3. So do you think season 1 was stalker obsessed with love?
Maybe, yeah.
And happy ending at the end of the season.
Well,
and they get married. But then season 2 and season 3, and I think we're on season 4 now, maybe 5.
Yeah. So that's what I'm gathering is like Marianne, I think is just one of his like obsessive targets.
Okay.
I don't know any of this for a fact, but I do know, I guess for a fact that he like is obsessed with women. Like he preys on women basically.
And at the end, he does mention how love has killed many of the women that he's like been
obsessed
interested
with. Yeah. So there's also like an element of murder here. Like, I don't know if like he murders the women he's obsessed with or just like if love murders the women.
It seems like it's love is the murderer.
Yeah, like I gather that he doesn't like, it's not the obsessive where he then murders them. So like that's good. But I don't know. I'm sure he does some kind of fucked up stuff to them. So I don't know.
We saw some fucked up stuff, but not a whole lot of fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
He was.
Well, let's talk about Joe then.
Let's talk
Do
about Joe.
You want to try to talk through what he does in this episode?
Oh, let's try and talk about Joe. So I guess the show is pretty much narrated by Joe talking to the person he's obsessed with. So in this episode, he's obsessed with Marianne, who appears to be his boss.
Right.
At a library.
At a library, which I have questions about.
Lots of questions about that. And so it appears that they've already had sex.
Yes.
And she has an ex-husband who's a complete douchebag. And they have a child together.
Yep.
But Joe is just like hell-bent. And he calls it a game. He says the game of trying to get Marianne, the game of trying to appease Love, his wife, is all this whole goal. Like what he essentially gets off to, really, when it comes down to it, is this goal of trying to get Marianne. He wants to end up and fall in love with Marianne. So like the whole episode is him scheming to somehow get Marianne, which includes trying to hang out with Marianne and her child, and like he has a baby too. They all have a nice little session, hang out together.
And he's basically like playing pretend, like this is my family now. Like this is the creepy, like stalker obsessive stuff of like me and my child and her child. We're all hanging out like we're just one family. Also, I've gathered that they've hooked up once.
I think only once.
I think so. We're not in love here, people. Like this isn't like a happily ever after thing. Like you worked together and you hooked up once. But that's what I think. He's just like so obsessed that he's like painting this picture that they're going to end up together married, even though he's married.
Right. And the one scene was very fascinating was when they were together playing family.
Yeah.
And she was talking to him and it was all nice, but then the show does it where they just cut out her talking. So it's like he just stopped listening to her and all he says is, "How can I make you happy?"
He's a creep.
in his creepy internal dialogue voice.
Yeah. This like narration of like this creepy voice in his head, it really was reminding. I don't think, did you watch Mr. Robot?
No.
This is one of those shows that my husband made me watch, but it actually was good. But like that main character is what's it when you have like multiple personalities? Schizophrenic, maybe? Like you have,
I think so.
yeah, like one of those like pretty like intense like disorders. And so that show is also like kind of like a very, you know, like a person with a lot of like
Internal
stuff
dialogue.
going on inside of his head narrating, and it's like kind of psycho stuff. And I know, so it was really reminiscent of that, of just like, oh, this is what like somebody with a really severe mental disorder is like going through in their head. So it was a lot. And yeah, like you said, like the story is narrated by that. It's just like, I don't know, it's a lot.
It's very one-sided point of view. Though we do see, there are scenes where Joe's not part of the scene at all, especially the ones with love.
That's true. Yeah.
But it was fast. It was very fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, so he's so obsessed with her, but her ex-husband is like also super controlling. He's like threatening to take custody of their daughter, like all this stuff. So Joe is like, I'm going to mess up this guy's life.
Yeah, he has this whole
crazy.
plan. Like he follows him to AA meetings where he's his ex, his name's Ryan, is openly talking about his drug addictions to Adderall and to Oxy. And Joe has a plan, comes with a plan essentially he buys Oxy and Adderall from
like a teenager,
which is so funny. This whole Gen Z teenager who claims that he's selling Oxy and Adderall for the good of mental well-being and for the
love that. He's like, all the proceeds are donated to like mental health awareness. I was like, I love this for you.
I love it. I do hope that there's a teenager out there like that.
I know.
So the plan is to now that Ryan is no longer on Oxy and Adderall, he's now into shakes and protein shakes and working out. And so Joe sees it as, okay, I'm going to microdose him, get him off the wagon. I'm going to fuck with his clock and just really
so you fuck with his life.
Exactly. So that he slips, falls into a irate bad husband. And then that means that he has no way of manipulating Marianne whatsoever.
Exactly.
And it's a great plan.
I mean, it's a pretty good plan. It's like pretty fucked up to drug somebody and like, you know, try to fuck up their entire life.
Absolutely.
But this guy also sucks. So like, I get it. But like, I mean, I guess it's exposed later, but he's like stalking. I mean, he's stalking him, but I just don't think he's doing like that good of a job. Like he's sitting right outside of his house wearing a baseball cap. He's like at the AA meeting wearing a baseball cap.
Right.
So like, I mean, spoiler alert, like Ryan realizes that he's been like stalking him. And then the other thing that is wild to me is that he just straight up like goes into Ryan's house in the middle of the day and does a lot of weird shit. But that's where he like does the microdosing and like, you know, puts drugs in his protein powders and all of this stuff. But like what we're supposed to gather about Ryan is that he's like really rich and powerful and has like been kind of tracking his ex-wife. So the notion that there's no like security cameras, like he's just openly walking into his house and like walking around in his house. There's no security cameras. Were we supposed to suspend our belief?
I'm glad you brought that up because I
you.
had the same observation here.
Yeah.
This is 2021.
Yeah.
And if this were the 90s, yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes complete sense. But 2021,
No.
Everyone's got, door cams. This guy would definitely have security cameras
100%.
outside, if not everyone. So many people have cameras inside their
100%.
house.
Yes,
so
he would.
He would have this
Yes.
stuff up.
Yeah.
So, yes, we had to suspend disbelief
No.
that he would do this.
And we didn't see like Joe like tampering with the security system. Like there was no recognition of like there might be a security system here. So, and the weirdest shit of it all is that he's in his house and like snooping through his stuff, comes across some pictures of Marianne. Do we even want to say what he does? I can't say, it's too gross.
Oh, I thought this was genius because it was there were Polaroids in the one of the books, and Joe sees them, and he thinks about it in his fucked up way, like, oh yeah, this is like what I want. I want these pictures, but he puts them back. But then in the next scene, when he returns back home, we'll we've talked about him and
Yeah.
Love. Love has this whole plan of
Seducing
dressing up and
him.
seducing
Yeah.
and really coming on to her husband. And as she's trying to go down on him, he flashes back and he does more than just put the pictures back in the book. He then jerks off to the pictures
And like ostensibly a lot.
a lot.
Because he says in his head, like he's got nothing left in there because of all the jerking off he did at Ryan's house.
At Ryan's house.
In front of a mirror, like with Ryan's pictures. And there's no security cameras. Like, how is nobody catching this? Also, like Ryan's mom, like helps with the daughter. So she's there all the time. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess when you're that like psycho and obsessive and like sex crazed, maybe. Like there's got to be that element of this too, is like he's maybe like addicted to the sex of it all too, maybe. I don't know.
We didn't see him have sex in this episode,
Yeah.
so I don't know if he's a sex addict, but there's
some
definitely
component of it.
a getting off to the
Yes.
stalking.
Yes, getting
of
off
it
on the
all.
stalking.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, like he's got these behind the scenes photos of Marianne, and this gets him off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with Love, he's unable to get it up for the blowjob, and that ends that scene. But I thought that the show did a great job about it because we think, okay, he's even in his mind, he justifies as being noble with these nude photos. That not now. I'll get these later. Once we are together, I'll save these. But then no, he's actually a dirty perv.
Yeah,
and
no,
jerks
the
off.
way the show did
a great job.
it was good.
Great
It was very well done. If you can call watching somebody jerk off well done, it was great.
Yeah. And what the show again does great with this whole plan of Joe's, which you think it's going to be a great plan, you think it's going to work out great, whatsoever. But what happens at the end? Ryan shows up at this. We'll talk about the party at the library, the fundraiser ball, whatever. But Ryan shows up where he was not supposed to show up because he was supposed to be off the wagon. He was supposed to be fucked up. And Joe's like, what the hell am I? How did this happen? And he talks to this other coworker, Dante, and Dante tells him, "Oh yeah, no, he's not sober. He's been. I tried one of those shakes once. And I was wired for a long ass time. So that's where. And then Joe's like, oh shit. We realized that his plan blew up in his face because this guy has never been sober.
He was high the whole time.
Exactly. Which was great. I thought that was another great twist.
It was an interesting twist for sure. I did agree. Like I was like, oh wow, like this is a good plan, and then it is interesting how it blows up. I don't know. Again, like things were well done. Like the reveals were well done. They're just disturbing.
Disturbing, but I loved it. And spoiler. And then Ryan approaches Joe at the bar and confronts him and says, "Oh, how's the wine?" And Joe says, "Oh, it's okay. It's not the best." And then Joe goes, "Oh, it's interesting because I saw you at an AA meeting last week." So Ryan's onto him now. So Joe sucked. Joe kind of was like, this whole episode we think that he is this amazing stalker. He knows what he's doing. He's got this plan. Even in his head, he's like, I got this plan. It's gonna be foolproof. And at the end, he kind of sucks at this.
I know. Well, I honestly thought too at that point Ryan was going to be like, also saw the security cam footage of you jerking off in my house. Like, that was interesting. I don't know. I really was hoping that there was going to be that added twist of like, by the way, idiot, like you also didn't even check for security cameras. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Ryan still has that one up his sleeve and like that'll come out again, or or we're just all pretending that didn't happen. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, Joe's like, I have to figure out kind of my next move to like get rid of Ryan.
And yeah, because Ryan is now onto him.
Yeah.
He's on the radar.
Yeah.
So that was a great storyline.
Well, and Marianne is, I guess, like seems really conflicted, right? Because she is into him too, but she keeps saying like, you are married and you seem happily married, which because they're putting on this really great performance of like being happily married, Joe and his wife, Love. So Marianne's like, I don't want to be the other woman. Like, I'm not trying to break up a marriage. And it's just, I don't know. If you're Marianne, isn't this like a huge red flag?
I think it's a very big red flag.
Just because you're into him, but like he's clearly like in a really messed up adultery situation right now. And I don't know.
But what she said later on. So I guess what maybe has happened in previous episodes as Joe is trying to get to Marianne is sounds like he told Marianne that he and his wife are in a loveless marriage, or they're not happy together.
He used that line.
He used that line.
Classic Dean telling Rory that he was going to get divorced so that Rory would sleep with him. Classic asshole move.
Classic.
But yeah, not true.
Not true. And because at the party, because the whole plan, Joe's whole party is, this episode kind of culminates in is it a fundraiser?
Can we just pause and talk about this library situation
Let's talk about
real
the library.
quick? They work at a library, but for some reason the library is for rich people or something. And like they have all these rich patrons and they're putting on this massively expensive fundraiser. Like, what is this library?
This is not an LA County library at all.
Is this in LA?
I think it's in California. So
Okay,
I
sure.
just assumed it was LA.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is not a public library whatsoever. This
what
is a
is
nice
this library?
And also the fact that Joe and Love live in a nice ass house.
I wrote this down. I literally wrote down, like, what do they do to give them that much money? Like, they have a huge house. She has like this amazing kitchen, all this stuff. And he works in a library and she's a baker.
And he is like not even working in the library. He is like 3 levels down.
Yes, he's just like a
from
librarian.
Ownership or
Like,
management.
He just like stocks the shelves.
Exactly.
Like, what does he do?
So I don't know how much money he's making at this private library.
Not a lot.
And yes, and Love owns a bakery, which could be very
Sure.
successful.
Okay.
But if she's taking on catering gigs
right.
on the side, it can't be that successful.
So they have this like huge, nice ass house in LA. Like, no, it doesn't check out. The only possible explanation is we do learn that Love's parents are like somebody's.
True.
So like maybe they just are using her family's money.
That could be.
I don't know.
That could be.
But
I can see
it's
that.
just too. I don't know. Maybe they explain a lot of things in earlier seasons, but so much of what's happening, I'm just like, I know it's not supposed to be a real show, but it's just too like. This is not how it would be.
No, not at all.
Too much disbelief. Anyway, okay.
And maybe Joe changes his jobs with the person he's obsessed with.
That could be.
But then wouldn't that be a red flag to Love?
Well, maybe we need to talk about Love because I have a lot of questions about what she knows and what she doesn't know.
Okay.
Right? Like.
So should we put a pause on Joe and Marianne?
Well, are we done with Joe and Marianne?
I guess so.
I feel like that was
what else
that was
there
it.
to talk about.
There's like, okay,
but I guess that's about it.
We'll see what happens.
Because at the end, so
yeah.
To summarize, he has this whole plan at this fundraising for the library party.
Yeah.
This very nice ass party.
Yeah.
His whole plan is to kind of get rid of Ryan.
Yeah.
So Ryan gets off the wagon.
Yeah.
And his wife Love will be at home.
Yeah.
She won't want to go to this boring ass fundraiser.
Yeah.
And it'll just be the two of them. And then I guess his whole plan is to try and hook up again with her.
Yeah.
But this all blows up in his face because Love gets asked to be the caterer.
Yeah.
So she has to be there. And then Ryan is not actually
high
off the
anyway.
wagon. And he shows up there to present a big ass check. So it doesn't work out. And at the end of it, she doesn't want to. She realizes that, meeting Love, that they are actually a happy marriage.
Yeah.
So she's just like, no, I'm not going to do this. I want my next relationship to be, quote unquote, above water.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think it's the end for them. Like,
I don't think so.
I'm assuming they're going to continue at least for a little bit longer. Like, again, I don't think she's going to be in the entire rest of the series moving forward, but I don't think it's the end of the road for him. And if he just got this new library job, he can't quit it already and like go out for another job.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you're right. Him changing jobs every obsession would be a red flag for Love. But like, do you think Love, his wife, knows anything about what he's doing with women?
That's a great question because he says that she has killed his past obsessions. So you would think so.
Yeah.
But the way she acts in this episode,
it's so weird.
She seems just like a normal, maybe not normal, but she seems like a character that is just a frustrated housewife.
I know.
Sleeping with the teenage neighbor, and trying to please her husband, dealing with her parents getting divorced. All pretty normal, I guess, suburban.
Sure, I agree. Maybe
stuff.
not sleeping with the young neighbor, but that's fine.
I don't know. But but when he said murdered,
exactly.
and her neighbor what's his name again? Matthew.
Matthew is the dad
Matthew's
who's
a
like
dad who's
investigating her.
obsessed, yes, with finding
Yeah.
out who killed someone.
Yeah. But that's why I'm trying to figure out, like, clearly there is something deeper happening with Love. Like, yes, you're right. On the surface, she seems like a super normal suburban housewife. Everything that she's going through is normal. But, like, we at least are getting glimpses of the fact that she murdered somebody. She's
Right.
being investigated. So that's why I'm like, how deep does this go? And she's like, you know, sleeping with Theo for information. Like, how deep does her deceit or like her knowledge go? And I still don't know.
I don't know, and that's what makes her such a fascinating character
She's
for me.
definitely the most interesting character to me.
Yes.
She was, and like well played too. Like, yes, I like the fact that I still have so many questions about like, what is your game? I don't know. It was good. But so she is in theory in this like super happy marriage with Joe, but also he's not sleeping with her, which again, like, is she just pretending she doesn't know why he's not sleeping with her? Or does she know it's because he's cheating on her with other women, so he doesn't need to sleep with her?
From this episode, it seems as if that she thinks that he's not in love with her anymore, and she's not attracted to her anymore. Which they've like hit this rut in this marriage, and that concerns her because her parents are going through a very bad divorce, a very bad divorce,
very public,
as we see in this episode. So, yeah, Love is, I guess, finding love in other places, like the neighbor boy who is a teenager. Or is he
I thought he was an adult, but now you're making me question it because his dad also looked young.
Right.
So I was like, how is it that Theo's an adult and his dad is also like the same age adult? Oh, is he a teenager?
I kind of got the sense that Theo was a teenager.
Now that you're saying it, that makes sense.
Yeah. Still living at Dad's house.
Gross.
Escorting house guests to Dad's office.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why didn't I realize that?
I think Theo's a teenager.
I mean, okay.
Love has had sex with Theo previously.
Yeah.
So Theo is just
he's like in love with her.
Yes,
yeah. Which
her.
Okay. That makes sense too. Like he's young. Like he's like, oh my gosh, you must love me because you had sex with me.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, she's just like, a lot of her storyline is just, you know, pining after her own husband, like trying to be desired by her husband, dealing with her psycho mom because her mom is clearly an alcoholic and like being very badly impacted by the divorce that she's going through. It's also interesting though, because Love and Joe have a kid, which that becomes a thing later, but like also we never see her with her kid. Right?
Rarely do we see.
Yeah. So I'm like, where is your kid? Like, she just seems to be home hanging out, but like her kid's not there. And the baby, it's like a baby too. I don't know.
It's
like,
a baby.
That's
yes.
weird. I don't know like what her deal is. What's Love's deal?
I think she's a very busy businesswoman. She's got a successful-ish, bakery she's running. So we don't see a drop off at a daycare.
No.
We don't see a nanny or anything like that. So we have no idea where. But we do see Joe with the baby.
Yeah. I don't know. It's confusing. Again, like these are the elements that are just like weirdly unrealistic. Like I'm with you on some of these things, but the fact that like, where is your baby? Why do I never see you with your baby? If you're like, you have a newborn, like you're a young mother, it's just like, I don't know. That's a little too like I'm suspending reality.
Don't
but
guilt trip this young mother for not spending time. She's a successful businesswoman. She's got a busy work life.
It's just strange. Anyway, so I guess she's a baker, and then the friend who's also somehow connected to the library. I don't know her friend's name.
Sherry, I think it is.
She's like,
I think she owns the library or like
how are they all connected to this
library.
Is the library like the center of their social circle?
I guess so.
I'm so confused. But yeah, so the friend is like, we need you to cater this library event. And of course, we as the audience know conveniently like, oh, well, that means Love, Joe, and Marianne and Ryan are all going to be at this library function together. But yeah, but then this is the other thing that I don't buy about Love. So she's like, oh my gosh, I'm catering this event like tomorrow. But instead of like being up to my elbows and like catering shit, I'm going to like use tonight's the night I'm going to seduce my husband and like get all dressed up and like cook him a nice dinner and try to have sex with him. Which like all of those things are great. But like tonight, the night before you're all of a sudden at the drop of a hat catering this massive event, it's so unrealistic.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Not only that, but also when the night of the event,
Yes.
she shows up arm in arm with her husband Joe at the event.
Yep.
No, you are the caterer.
You're the caterer.
You need to be back in the kitchen prepping shit.
If I've learned anything from Suki St. James, it is that you are in that kitchen and you
Yes.
are prepping, you are cooking, you are commanding people to do what you want. Like,
Yes.
you're in charge.
You do not sit down until dessert is out.
No, it's, again, there's so many just small things that I'm like, this is not real. If you're the caterer, you're cooking.
And the only reminder that we get of that night that she is the caterer is when Sherry comes up to her and says something that, honestly, that Love should have thought of. Oh, hey, and Sherry comes up and says, oh my God, I forgot about allergens or something like that. Can you help me out? And that's when she does,
Like,
I don't even know what they do,
now
honestly.
it's my job to like sort the plates by allergens. Like, that's not your job, and you should be cooking.
Yes,
You're cooking
exactly.
right now.
Get back in the kitchen.
It is so crazy. Okay, thank you for also picking up on that because again, like the weird thing is that like the psycho creepy obsession is like the most believable part of the show to me, and like the like real things that they're doing in everyday life is what I find unbelievable.
I completely agree. Completely agree with you.
Which is not what's supposed to happen, but it's fine.
Even the scene when it must be the day of when Theo shows up, just breaks into their house when she's alone, and Love is toasting almonds.
Yeah, she has stuff in the oven.
You are toasting almonds is a very simple thing to do.
Yeah.
Yet you burn that.
Yeah.
That's because you're like upset or something like that. I don't know. That's like basics. I feel like for a caterer / baker to
Yeah.
toast almonds.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, if that's what you're in the middle of, like, those things are done in like 5-minute batches. Like, you don't have time to go fuck the neighbor. Like, you need to be watching your 5-minute batches of almonds that are roasting.
Yes.
Again, not believable.
Not at all. But she does bang Theo one more time.
God.
And
Yeah, that's love.
that's love. Well,
What else is going on with love?
goal, which I guess Joe is aware of, is that so Theo's dad, Matthew, is I don't even know what he does.
I don't know what he does. He sits in front of computer screens popping pills.
Exactly.
That's his
and
job.
somehow he has access to all the cameras, public cameras in the city, and he is investigating the murder of someone, and he, I guess, he suspects Love, and maybe Joe as well. And so Love's goal is to have Theo try and find out what information his dad has on them and get it to her. So that's why she's playing with him, flaunting with him, but honestly falling for him too, kind of.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like, I think she has to put on this show, even for Joe, of like, I'm only doing this to get the information, but like, you like it.
She
like it.
likes it. She likes it. So Joe knows about this too, but
Yeah.
I don't think he knows. Does he think Joe knows that they've banged?
He might, and he probably doesn't care. I mean,
That would probably be a really good manipulation tool to hang over her head.
yeah. But we don't learn anything in this episode that would assume he does know. He knows that they're flirting. Like she
Right.
sees him at the window and like shows him her bra or whatever. Like and Joe saw that. So like Joe knows she's flirting with him. I don't know if he would care if he knew they were hooking up.
I think he would love it if.
Yeah, because he like wants Love to also not want to be married, I
Right.
guess.
Right.
It's
It
confusing.
would be a way out for him to get with Marianne.
Yeah. But what's confusing, and again, we don't know all the backstory, is why is he staying married to Love? You know?
I don't know.
Like stay together for the kids?
He doesn't say anything about the kid. He doesn't express any
No.
love for the kid.
No. Like there's got to be something else deeper going on where being married to Love is like some sort of cover or something. Or like there's got to be some sinister reason why he's staying married to Love.
I think so. There's got to be some
We don't know
more
what
to
it
this
is.
game that he's playing for why.
Right, because like if he truly wanted to be with these other women, he would just End it with love. Or maybe like he's worried that she would murder him if he divorced her. 'Cause she is a killer.
But when her mother brings it up at the end, this concern about Love murdering Joe.
Yeah.
It's like the first time he's thought about it. He didn't even think about this. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, there's something going on. We don't know.
Yeah. I think what it is, probably what's very typical in cheating relationships is I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to leave unless I know that the person I'm leaving my wife for is
Like
into
100%
it or
in.
committed as
That's a
well.
good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
That could be it.
But yeah, okay. So we don't know.
We don't know.
What else is going on with Love? Anything else that we need to get into?
Let's talk about her parents.
The mom.
The mom. Did you recognize the mom at all?
No. Should I?
She is, I recognized her. It killed me because I had to then Google it. She was from the hit early 2000s, late 90s movie, Deep Blue Sea.
Never saw
With
it.
Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J. It's about a shark that goes and kills everyone.
Nope, didn't recognize her. The only other actor beside Penn Badgley that I knew was Ryan, was played by the guy who was in Greek, the ABC Family show that was on when we were in college. It was one of my favorite shows. But that was like a deep cut. Otherwise, like I didn't even know. I was IMDbing some of these people. I was like, I've never heard of any of them.
Same.
So that's interesting. Okay, so the mom.
The mom
She's an alcoholic.
Apparently, she's an alcoholic. They are wealthy.
Yes.
She's obsessed
She owns a
about this
winery,
vineyard. And she it's getting ugly out there for her. But she's just drunk all the time.
Yeah. Well, and then in the divorce, the husband, even though they had a prenup, somehow is like getting the winery or the vineyard or whatever, which like he shouldn't be getting, but he must have a good lawyer, I guess.
Must.
I don't know.
And
She's
Love
pissed.
is siding with, appears to be on her mom's side.
Yeah,
the
she
first scene we
does.
get her when she shows up drunk and she's pissed off.
Yeah.
And then her name's Dottie. And then Dottie starts talking about, I should have known this when your father wanted to stop doing anal with me. And Love rightfully goes, like, you mom, don't say that. And then Dottie gets gets upset with her.
Dottie's crazy.
Dottie is crazy.
Well,
we do find out she's crazy.
She's
yes.
actually crazy. Yeah.
Yes. And then Dottie storms out. And then the next time we see Dottie is she calls up Love the night of the and also let's not forget that Dottie also knows that Love is into the
she
neighbor.
knows that they're hooking
She knows
up.
that about that.
I don't know when she found that out.
I
Like, how does Joe not know? But the mom knows, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
don't know. But Joe kind of knows though.
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
And he's just fine with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, then Dottie calls up and says that she's on her way she fell asleep and she's on her way to babysit. And she keeps calling the baby Henry. She keeps calling the baby Henry 40.
Yes.
Which threw me off. I was like, wait, that's not the baby's name.
I thought I was thrown off by that too. And then later on IMDb, I saw that there was another character named 40.
Right.
Who must have been Dottie's like son or something.
Yes.
Who died maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dottie thinks that baby Henry
It's like
is a
her-
reincarnation
yeah.
of her son 40. So she thinks that this is actually her baby.
I know.
Which is crazy.
Well, she's
talk.
also just super drunk.
Right. So she assumes she's coming over to babysit the night of the library fundraiser. And Love's like, no, we have a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
You're drunk. Don't drive anywhere. Stay home. Well, guess what she does?
Mm-hmm.
She actually goes and picks up Henry, the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene killed me. I don't know about you, but
The drive-through.
drive-through.
Oh my God.
I got so anxious because what happens is, I guess Dottie has picked up Henry and we see her at a drive-through with the baby in her lap ordering a shit ton of food. So that means she drove that whole way with this
Just
baby
holding
who
the baby
is
in her
maybe what,
6 months? Yeah,
old?
like a baby. Yeah.
Yes, in her lap.
Yep.
That my heart
She's
started racing.
drunk driving, holding a baby in her lap.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and so she's ordering this food, and the part that was killing me is, granted, it's like a teenage girl working at the drive-thru, but I'm like, teenage girl, please, do you see, like, and she clearly clocks all of this happening. I'm like, call the cops, call the cops. Like, all I want for this teenage girl to do is just like, be like, excuse me, like, be right back. I need to go get your food, and like, call the cops, like, do something. Like, this baby is going to die. But instead, she takes her up on the offer for a lighter for $300. And I'm like, teenage girl, like, you just took $300 at the risk of like a baby dying.
Yes. You fucked up.
I mean, it's not all on the teenage girl, but like,
she should have alerted a manager or something. I don't know. But good thing she had a lighter on her. She was able to sell that thing for $300 to Dottie. And we're like, why the hell is she buying a lighter? But we come to find out. After my favorite line of the episode was while she's in line, because she's using this as a therapy session, talking to this woman at the drive-thru cashier, and someone behind her honks, and she yells, I wrote this down, I'm getting my gordadas. It was so funny.
Good. It was good. I mean, it would be good if she wasn't about to kill a baby.
Yes. Because the next thing we see is she is holding Henry. We hear sirens and we see a fire behind her. Mm-hmm. And we come to find out that she lit her vineyard on fire.
I know. And you know what? All I can think about is if they're in LA, like she just started a wildfire.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, she possibly just started a wildfire.
Especially with, I mean, wildfires happen all the time in LA, but what just happened recently,
exactly.
all the wildfires, oh my God.
I know. Like everything she's doing is the worst thing a human could do. Like everything. It's so bad.
And as Joe narrates for us, you know, as long as you're a rich white woman, you
get off.
You just get off and just commit to going to therapy or rehab. Whatever. Yeah.
So she's going to go to rehab and Joe's going to take her and then it'll be fine. Yeah. No punishment.
Oh, that's super unrealistic too. That yeah, we got to add that to the list of super unrealistic too.
Which?
That she can that she can be an arson and get off because she's rich. I feel like in California,
she's white and rich.
They don't take this shit seriously.
I don't know.
They take this more seriously over there.
Maybe now.
I don't know.
I mean, they haven't had the LA fires at this point in time. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I honestly, again, out of all the options of what is like the most believable and least believable, like this to me was fairly believable compared to all these other things that were not at all believable.
Fair
anyway.
enough.
But okay, so then do we say the baby's fine? Spoiler alert, the baby's okay.
Thank God.
Thank God. Fine. Jesus. Like,
thank
oh my God. And somehow.
Love does the correct thing and says, very calm and collected, which I would not have been. She says, you can sleep here tonight. Tomorrow morning, Joe is going to take you to rehab.
Yeah.
But I will never see you again.
Yeah.
And you will never see Henry again.
Yeah.
And that causes the mother to obviously panic because for some reason she thinks that Henry is the reincarnation of her son 40.
Yeah, I mean, like, good for love, but yeah, I don't think I could have been that calm. Like, no, I mean, I don't even know how I would have been in that situation. The last thing that we did not touch on that I just saw in my notes is this whole thing about love being invited to a poly relationship.
Yes, that's right.
I forgot about this whole thing. A lot happened in this 50-minute episode.
Yeah, talk about the...
So Love obviously is like concerned about Joe's not sexually attracted to me, like all of this stuff. And so she somehow kind of like lets that slip to her friend Sherry. And Sherry, who owns the library, is that what we decided? Has some connection to the library.
Runs it, whatever.
So she's like, hey, like, I'll send you this like article about like how to hack your sex life. How to hack your sex life is what she keeps saying. And then, you know, Love reads it or just like reads a little bit of it. And that's why she tries to seduce Joe with, you know, even though it's the night before her catering event, she tries to give him a blowjob in the kitchen. It doesn't work out. And so then she sees Sherry again at the fundraiser and Sherry's like, didn't you read that whole article? And by the way, I wrote that article. It's my secret sex blog. And by the way, it's about being poly, and that's what me and my husband are. And also, we want you to join us.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, the term hot wife means being in an open marriage.
I've never heard this in my life.
I've never heard it.
Maybe
that was going to be my question for you. So have you heard this before?
I guess I don't read the right secret sex blogs. Like, I don't know. But no, this was a shock to me as well. Yeah. And so Love, though, is like kind of like she seems not turned off by it.
She's totally into this.
She's like, maybe. And then at the end brings it to Joe, and Joe's internal monologue. What did he say? Like, never in my life would I do that, or something like that.
Not with Sherry,
Not with
but
them.
yes.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh, this is great. I can spin this
Yeah.
into," because you can see his wheels turning about
Yeah.
how he's going to try and get this to get Marianne.
Right. Yeah, because again, like, love seems open to the let's be poly with this couple, even though Joe's not into that couple. The open marriage could work. So
But it's fascinating.
Dot.
Because when Sherry was talking about it at the party, Sherry was like stroking Love's arm.
Oh yeah, it was very sexual.
And Love did not pull her hand away.
No,
She
seems into it.
if she had not gotten a text about her baby,
Almost dying.
They may have started making out right there, for all we know.
I don't know about that, but she definitely didn't seem opposed to it.
She was very much into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, has she like thought about this before? I don't know. It just feels like if somebody like out of the blue approached me with that and I never thought about that before, I would probably just be like, oh, I need to like process this information. Like, this is a lot.
Yes.
So I'm like, maybe Love has thought about it already.
She's looking for ways to spice up her marriage. She's looking for ways, because I think part of it is she wants Joe to be more attracted to her, and part of it too is she doesn't want her marriage to turn into her parents' marriage.
Yeah, that's a great point. She just wants a happy marriage.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Murdering people as well.
And also, like, she knows who she's married to.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you, Love.
Best of luck. Because the episode ends with them walking out hand in hand down the street, and Matthew, dun dun dun, is creepily watching them from his computer on the street cam.
Yep.
So what's going to happen?
Who knows?
Who knows? Man.
That was it.
That was it.
There's a lot happened, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. So much happened in this 51-minute episode, I
Something
believe.
like that. Yeah. But I mean, Netflix, they know how to make them. They keep you enthralled the whole time.
They really do.
Cannot overstate enough. The production value of Netflix shows is always just through the roof.
Except for the scene with the Dottie and the baby setting fire, because in the background, that CGI looked pretty bad.
Oh, I believed it.
Oh, you did? Oh, man.
Again, on the scale of what
Looked
I
pretty bad
believed
to
and what
me.
I didn't believe, I actually believed the wildfire.
Okay, if nothing
man.
else, let's dive into acting quality.
Yeah.
So with our rating system being A being the best acting out there, and F just being straight up garbage acting, how would you grade the acting on the show?
I thought it was actually pretty good. Like, I think Penn Badgley does a really good job convincing me that he is this like psycho creep. And then Love also is doing a really good job convincing me that there's like way more going on behind the surface. So I would say like B+ or A-. Like, I think it was good.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that our two main characters of Love and Joe are excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect casting. Great. Convincing me. We've talked about so much about this. Anyway, yes, I think they're great. I think everyone around them not as good
Sure.
of actors.
Sure.
So I would give it a B+.
Yeah. All right. Love that.
Great. And then the rock rating, which is our representation of color score, based on the number of POCs that are in the show, on a rating from 0 to 10. I'm going to have to give this one a 4.
What about Marianne and Sherry?
Right. I forgot about Marianne, which is terrible of me. Okay. Because I was focused on Sherry so much, and her being such a side character. I mean, okay, fine. So I will give it a 6 then.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Because I should have thought about this beforehand. shouldn't I?
Like, as I
Took
was
this on the
watching it, I was
spot.
like, oh, wow, Marianne is like a Black woman as like one of the leads in this episode. Wow, that's so great.
Yes. So Marianne's in this episode. She is she's not a big part. She's a big part, but not
She's
a
like
super
one
big
of the
part. She's-
bigger roles in the
Again,
show.
our main characters in the show are
Yeah.
Two white people.
Sure.
Marianne's here and then Sherry's here, but I don't think anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, the Marianne's daughter is
Yeah.
interracial.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'll stick with my 6.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's what I said the whole time, right, people? 6 the whole time.
Totally remembered Marianne.
Okay, finally, did you like it?
I was definitely captivated. again, like I think the production value is good. I definitely was like paying attention the whole time and was like into the story. Again, it's just like not really my vibe. Like I don't want to watch a lot of this. I don't want to watch Joe anymore. Like I don't really like that creepy piece. So I don't have an answer. Yes, no. Like, yes, it was good, but no, I didn't like it. It's kind of like Yellow Jackets. Like I can appreciate that it was good, but I don't like it.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I appreciate you trying, expanding outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, now I can say I tried it.
I really like this.
Oh,
I really
okay.
like this. So great pick.
Ooh,
I am.
It's like Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. But as I told you, I went back to watch Yellow Jackets again, and it freaked the shit out of me. So I had to stop watching that.
I
It
will
got
say,
too
like,
dark.
like going into both of them, I was like, oh, these are both like thrillers, but like this is like not like it has the like psycho drama element a little bit, but not anywhere near where Yellow Jackets goes.
Yellow Jackets got so much more than just thriller.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
this was a nice thriller.
Yeah.
And yeah, I am excited to go back
Oh, okay.
and rewatch this from the
Ooh.
beginning.
Okay.
So I think I'm just so many, as we've just talked about in this whole podcast, like there's
so
so
much
many
going on.
questions
Yeah.
and so much I want to know. I
Yeah.
really want to know. So
Okay, fill me in.
I will.
Love it.
Okay. Well, if nothing else, then thanks for listening, everybody. Remember to follow us on Spotify or wherever you're listening. And if you like what you hear, please rate us 5 stars. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Random Episode Pod. Finally, and most importantly, come back next week for our next random episode.
Bye.